once again for Sunday Morning Vintage. So, I'm John, and this is Sunday Morning Vintage, and today we are going to be taking a look at transforming robots such as Convertors, and we'll see more of those in a minute, and Transformers from all over the world, and we will be seeing GoBots. GoBot. I don't have a packaged GoBot, so we're just like, yeah, GoBots. There's a GoBot jet. So we'll be looking at basically the mini bots. We're not going through like all the big ones. I wanted to look at all the little ones, the ones that we could get really affordable as a kid. And when we went to the store, we had to choose between, did we want to get a real transformer, or did we want to get a GoBot, or did we want to get the generic converters? Because like they were like dollar store things with cardboard backs, just plain and terrible. So it was like, which one did we want to get as a kid? How much money did we have? Or it's like, you wanted a transformer and your grandmother went and got you a converter. Like you were hoping to get a transformer. You're like, I want Bumblebee. And then when you open up your gift, your grandmother got you this. And you're like, oh, what the crap? This isn't real. This isn't a transformer. What's wrong with you? Because we were kids and we didn't know, to be appreciative of what grandma did, even though she didn't know what she was doing. But anyway, okay, let's see who's here. We got Bill here. Bill, how you doing? Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. Rolando is in the house. G-Force, how you doing? How you doing? Jonathan Redmond is here. Good to see you, Jonathan. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, and then we have Bill here with, I had a few Transformers and GoBots when I was a kid. I liked the Transformers better, but I never had but a few of both. Yeah, I think we had most of the mini bots when we were kids, but my parents only bought us, I think they bought us each one of the jets. So I had Starscream and my brother had Skywarp. And then they bought us a couple cars. So I had Ironhide and I had Hound. I think were the ones my parents bought me. And then my brother got Sideswipe, the red Lamborghini. And what other car did he have? He may have had Wheeljack or Mirage. I don't know, one of those cars. And then after that, I think I had to go and buy them. Like I remember I was in 4-H and we would go to the county fair every year, and I lived on a farm. So I would bring the farm animals. Like every year we would have to, the farm animals would have babies. So the sheep would have 2 or 3 babies. The cows would have 2 or 3 babies, but we couldn't keep them all. So we would sell them off. But what we did is if you went to 4-H and went to the county fair and showed off the animal, if it had a good cut and felt like they would somehow feel the animal and figure out like how the meat was and everything was in it. And if it would get basically a stamp, a rating at the fair. And then you could sell that animal for more money at auction because it was certified ahead of time. So it sounds strange today. Like, why would you have your kids do this? But back in the day, this was like a normal thing for kids to do who grew up on a farm. So I took some sheep to the fair and I got them certified and I got best of show with one of the sheep. So when I went to auction with it, it got me like $300 or $400. And my dad said, since I did all the work, I could keep the money. And I think he was hoping I would save it or something. But no, I immediately went to Toys R Us and I bought Optimus Prime, Soundwave, Megatron, and Shockwave. Yeah, it was Soundwave, Soundwave, and Optimus Prime. Yeah, I bought the 4 big ones that I wanted. And I think I'm and then somewhere down the road I got Smokescreen. But so I had 3 or 4 of the cars. I ended up getting the big guys by buying them myself. And then I know we had all the minibots because those were only $1 or $2, so my mother would buy those. But we also had some converters and some GoBots just because there were times where we were at the store, or like I said, family members would get them for us, whatever. Never liked He-Man. Oh, never liked He-Man and G.I. Joe, which are the ones you had a lot of. I had Jetfire, Red Alert, Sunstreaker. Yeah. Never had any GoBots. 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 White Shadow's here. Good to see you. White Shadow. How you doing? Wait, we're getting ripped off like when we were kids. Not allowed to see the larger toys? I had Devastator and Sideswipe, yeah. I've still got the Devastator that I owned as a kid. I've got, yeah, Devastator I bought in parts. I have all the, oh, I didn't grab the bin. I gotta get my pamphlet portfolio for these. Man, every time I do this, you guys see my eyes bugging out. It's like they gotta get used to the screen. I should start staring at the screen in the morning before I do this so that my eyes get adjusted, because they're never adjusted in the morning to this. It's like I wake up and stare at a screen and they go, "Oh, don't do it. You're killing us." But yeah, I still own my Devastator that I owned as a kid. My Optimus Prime I owned as a kid. The Bumblebee you'll see here is the one I had since I was a kid. And then the Soundwave is the figure I had as a kid, but I bought the box and some cassettes later on so that I'd have it all complete. And then let's see, there was Starscream was the one I had as a kid, and that might be it. The rest might have all disappeared. Oh, I know that one of the smoke screens I have. So I actually it turns out I kept a lot of Transformers from when I was a kid, because I think I have 2 smoke screens, and one of them is the one I had since I was a kid. Fabulous Disaster, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Timmy and Nibbles. Nibbles is here. Nibbles is here. Nibbles, 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 Nibbles is here. Oh, I loved the Dinobots. Yeah, that's right. So my parents got me so I guess we had a lot. I didn't think we had that much, but we did have a lot, because my parents got me the Stegosaurus Snarl, and they got my brother the Brontosaurus, which was Sludge, right? But we never got the rest of the Dinobots. We wanted them, but we got them. Hello there, John. Hope you're having a great morning. I am. Sideswipe, Cliff Jumper. GoBots are not real Transformers. They're transforming toys. They're not Transformers. Mr. B, everyone's saying hello. Mr. B, Mr. Lobot. Hi, John and Chad. I'm at work listening. You got the touch. Soundwave, Jetfire were my faves as a kid. You got the power. Yeah. I remember wanting all the bad guys. The bad guys. Who wants a good guy? You want the bad guys. Nice rap on Instagram. Yeah, that was beautiful, G-Force. Yeah, it was perfectly timed, 4-H still shows cattle at the fair. There you go. All right, see? Back in the day must have been crazy. Yeah, it was like a big one of those races to get all the toys you could get in 10 minutes. Lack's here. Hey, Lack, how you doing? So, guys, give me a second here. I'm gonna go get. I gotta get a thing. I'm gonna go get a thing. Stare at this. Oh, is that good? Okay. Stare at this while I go get a thing. I have to get my little pouch that has all the paraphernalia in it. So I'll be right back. I promise. to get this. I had to get this. And then, of course, I didn't remember where it was, right? I was like, where'd I put it? So, the other thing, this was supposed to have a link in it. Copy. Boom. Boom. Bam. And, let me pin that link. Pin the message. There we go. So if you want to join, you are very welcome to join that. Where'd Bill go? There he is. You are very welcome to join if you want to join the chat and be on here with me. So we might as well leave this right up, right? We might as well just leave this up and start talking about these little mini toys. These are cool. And I've got a selection here of Transformers, and then some GoBots on this shelf, and Converters on the top shelf. Convertors, right? But what I wanted to show was that I've got a bunch of these were the file cards you would get, like, G.I. Joe had file cards. These were the ones that you would get for the Transformers. And I kept a lot of these, surprisingly. And I've put them in little plastic things. Brawn and Huffer. You think with a name like Huffer, he smoked a lot of weed? Wind Charger. Oh, I don't have bumblebees in a thing. We got to put it in a thing. Bumblebee. Oh, it was from the red Bumblebee. Look at that. And then we have Gears. And Optimus Prime and Power Glide. And then I have what did I do here? Oh, I've got the like, these were all like stuff I had since I was a kid too, and I've got these together because this is my Constructicons set. And I know we're not like really talking Constructicons, but and I've got my instructions for Soundwave in here. That's pretty cool. How to transform Soundwave. And everything you got with him. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. But I have, so we bought the whose stickers are these? I've got someone's stickers. I didn't use them all. Whoever this is for, I didn't put them all on, apparently. But so when I bought, look, well, these were $7.99 at KB Toys. So I bought the Constructicons separately. So when I bought them, they were all separate figures. So I got this Scavenger, and I've got Long Haul here, and then the other ones, I must have cut up the cards and just took the because this was the other thing. I didn't get these all at once. I think I got like one of them, like Hook or someone first. And then like a week later, I was able to get Mixmaster. And then like a couple weeks later, I was able to get Bone Crusher. And then finally, I probably bought the last two at the same time, which were these two, um, Long Haul and Scavenger. And probably bought them at the same time and was able to finally build Devastator at home. And I was like, it was one of those excruciating things when I was a kid where you couldn't get them all. Your parents wouldn't let you buy the whole pile at once. So you had to get one and then like a few weeks later get another. And you're just like, oh, I can't build them. And you're sitting there for a month going, I want to build them so bad, and mom won't buy me the rest. You're like, come on, let's go to the store. And they're like, no, we don't have any money. You have to wait. And you're like, I mean, that's like torture to a kid. You know what I mean? You're just staring at one part of Devastator. And you're like, if I could just go to the store and get the rest, I could build the whole robot. And it's like, no, she's making me wait. You know, that seriously was like torture to kids. You know, it's like, how do you like? That's all you need to do. Like, if you ever need to get information out of a kid, give them one piece of something that has 5 parts and let him sit there and, you know, he'll give you all the answers you ever want. You know, if you need like stuff out of the kids, you know, secrets. So they gave you these little red things and you could put them over and suddenly you could see the graph, supposedly. So like you're like, I have no idea what Optimus Prime's strength and intelligence is, so I'm gonna have to use the red thing to see it. And you're like, I still kind of can't see it, but it's just like, what? You could basically see it equally either way. It doesn't matter. So I don't know. It was a gimmick they had, right? They had to have some kind of gimmick. Boom, boom, boom. But it's neat to still have one of those just to play around with, you know. All right. Anyway, so we've looked at those things. We've looked at that stuff. And that's all I have of those. I don't own a lot of those file card things anymore. So how do we want to do this? Okay, so one of the things that I thought I'd look at first was the chat. Let's look at the chat and let's look at Bill. Hey Bill,
Hey, what's happening, John?
looking at Transformers. What's happening with you?
Oh, not too much. I got to go out of town today, so I'm not going to be doing a show. So it's great to be on with you today.
Oh, nice. Yeah. When are you going out?
I got to leave here my time probably around 10:30, and I don't know when I'll be back, so I just cancel the show for today. I might do something late this afternoon or Monday after work, but I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got over here. We got a lot of bumblebees over there. It looks like.
Yeah, I've got the this was the modern Bumblebee, the one that recently came out as a re-release,
Uh-huh.
and this is the original.
Is there a
And
lot of it looks like there's a lot of differences between them.
yeah, there's a good way right off to tell the difference between them.
The headlights.
And silver bumper instead of
Yeah.
black. Yeah, so and
I
then the
always wanted
tail
Bumblebee, but I
lights.
could never find him.
Yeah, he was a tough one, but we got lucky, and then we got the cliff jumpers here. So then the red Bumblebee was the variant one when we were kids. And then they've got the cliff jumper ones. Cliff jumper was normally red.
Yeah.
And then we've got the yellow version of the cliff jumper, which was the variant one. And you can kind of tell him because he's got the back spoiler.
Yeah.
Because I think Hubcap used the exact same feet. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And it almost looks like the exact same body because the windows are nearly the same.
Now, as a kid, I can't remember, but how did the Bumblebee size toys scale with the bigger Transformers like Optimus, for instance? Did they look like they went with the same line, or did they look too small?
No, I always, well, they kind of did look different. I mean, because they were so simple in the way they transformed.
Yeah.
And especially the Bumblebee cliff jumper type figures, quite frankly, those should have been redesigned because the better ones are like these kind of guys where you flip their legs around, and
Yeah.
stand them up and they're there, But because what happens, quite frankly, is like you'll see when we start transforming these, you have to be extremely careful. Like a lot of these things you can mess around with, you're not going to break them. But if you tweak Bumblebee or Cliff Jumper or Hubcap or any of these in a certain way, you are going to snap their legs off or their foot, and it will be damaged beyond repair. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
my Bumblebee especially is almost broken. Like you got to be
Oh,
very, very look and see
he's the
the big,
vintage one, right?
yeah, and see the big crack going through it.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So
Maybe it's time to get a little plastic weld on that little boat
you got
guy.
to be extremely careful with those things, and even and especially today with the plastic being even more brittle.
Yeah,
Even like
well, the plastic's going to do nothing
I
but
mean,
get brittler over time. I mean,
yeah,
that's just a
40 odd years old. It's going to be yeah. So
second law of thermodynamics.
you can easily snap all this stuff in half and then never be able to fix. You'd have to get another Bumblebee, and Bumblebee right now is probably the most expensive of all these, because everyone wants a Bumblebee, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna buy one, you're gonna buy Bumblebee,
Yeah, Bumblebee's probably one of besides Optimus Prime and Megatron, probably one of the most popular of the Transformers for some odd reason. I guess because of the
Yeah.
first Transformer movie. I mean, he was like the centerpiece of that.
Well, and he kicked off the whole thing in the comics and the cartoon. Remember,
Yeah,
like Spike and Buster and or whatever. I think they had different names depending on if it was the comic or the cartoon.
yeah, that's
But
true.
they
The Wit
in
Wicket.
both versions they found Bumblebee first,
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like as the audience, it's your first introduction to the Transformers is Bumblebee,
You know,
So
talking about Transformers comic books, the Marvel Comics Limited series I enjoyed very greatly when I was a
oh
kid.
yeah,
And one of those issues even had a guest appearance by Spider-Man.
it did, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know if I said hi to Jonathan, but Jonathan's here. Paul's here. How you doing,
Look,
Paul?
Geek Strong, hey. And
Let's see.
Lack, thank you very much
Lack,
for your good wishes there, my friend. I appreciate that.
Duffman's here. What's going on? Good wishes for what? What's going on, Bill?
Oh, I got to head out of town, and he's just giving me good wishes on
Oh,
my
on
trip.
the trip. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Towards Games is here. How you doing, Towards? Good to see you. Good to see you. I picked the wrong time to stop sniffing glue. uh, uh, surely you can't be serious. Picked the wrong day to stop doing what?
Lack will get you every time in the comments. You better read them before you throw them up.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Love you, Lack.
Oh wow, my great spitting into Leslie Nielsen. That's funny. Um, I joined the great hallows of my collecting life last night. I recorded with Stu, and
Cool.
I've seen Lack on Stu's show, and I've seen Matt from uh, Zero Hunter Toys, Shabby from Shabby Geeks been on. So Stu is making the rounds, and maybe he'll hit you up someday, Bill. But he's getting people on his show, My Collecting Life, and it's a lot of fun. If he
Okay.
asks, or you could even reach out to him if you want to be on it. I think he would be happy to that. It was a pleasure talking with him, and he records it ahead of time,
Uh huh.
and then you record it, like a StreamYard, but he just
Yeah.
records it,
Uh
and
huh.
then he edits it later, intermixed with some of your photos and stuff. So you send him like 15 or 20 photos of your collection, and then he mixes it and edits it together. It takes him about a week, and then it'll come out next Friday. When
Speaking of my photos, if you guys want to see the vast majority of my collection, if you go to my DeviantArt page, that's where you're going to find
oh, you put it up on
photos.
DeviantArt. Do you have a link for that DeviantArt?
Let me see if I can find it, and I'll throw it in the private chat.
Yeah. Hey, Geek Strong, how you doing? How you doing? Still waiting on my OnlyFans discount code. So yeah, yeah. Speaking of discount codes, I don't know how it's gonna go, but I don't exactly know the details yet, but it looks like I
There
might
you
be
go,
able to
John.
be. It looks like I might be able to be an Entertainment Earth sponsor. So,
Ooh, that would be
um,
nice.
yeah. So
Does
I
that mean you
don't.
get? Does that mean you get free toys, or does that mean you get money?
No, no. I think what it is they're um, because like I know a couple other people like Jason at Yak Face has it and stuff, and I think what they usually do is you get like a code, and I also have I could put links
Discount
on
code.
my web page. So
Yeah.
basically, like if you click one of the links and buy a toy as my link reference to you,
Mhm.
then I can get like 10% in the store at Entertainment Earth. You guys store
That
credit,
sounds
you
very
know.
cool. Yeah,
And
I'm
then,
all for that.
but I also think the buyer gets a discount for using my code to get in, right? It's something
Right.
like that. They're
Oh, they get like a 10% discount, and you might get some
yeah,
piddly amount
a
maybe.
commission or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So we'll see if they got to write me back with all the details. So don't take that as solid right yet, but I'm definitely moving forward with
Oh,
that
and
in the.
and and by the way, folks, let me do this real quick, if you don't mind, John. If you see what I'm wearing here, I'm wearing my new hat for Resurrection Toys, bringing your imagination back to life. If you guys
Oh,
want to see
nice.
some cool toys, if you want to see a combination of Godzilla and a Xenomorph, or if you want to see a Predator combined with King Kong, Resurrection Toys is the place to go. You ought to check them out sometime, John.
I will. I will. God Xenomorph. I will definitely. And
Yeah,
then
it's called Xenozilla.
oh Xenozilla, right? And then
Predacon. Yeah.
Predacon, right?
Matter of fact, I did a review of those toys when they came in. I got them straight from the manufacturer down there in Mexico. They're Mexican bootleg toys.
So look at this. So I ended up getting that GI Joe book you told me about. Thanks, it's awesome. So Paul, let me give you another book to seek after. Transformers.
Oh wow!
1980s through 1990s by J.E. Alvarez, and this is an unofficial guide to Transformers.
Flip through it a little bit there, John. I
And
want to see.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
that is the plan here. So why don't I switch? Because this is a pretty interesting.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I love those kind of coffee table books like that. I have several of them for different toy lines.
this is a pretty cool book, and it
Look
has.
at that awesome figure. Does it show some of the original Japanese versions of those toys in
That's
there?
why this is a good book. Yes,
There you go. That's it right there. That's the bee's knees.
Japanese Diaclone
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, with the boxes,
yeah.
and
You should have got Toy Connections to come on with you today. That's the guy to get with for Transformers.
I mean, the Optimus Prime has a big Diaclone sticker on the side of his
I've seen
trailer there.
that.
You
I
know.
often wondered
Yeah,
what if that was branded differently over there. I'm not real big on Transformers, so I know about it a little bit, but I don't know anything to be able to be able to see it with my eyes, or be able to tell.
but they go through like this is incredible detail in my opinion because
Yes.
you've got all of them in car mode, you've
Uh-huh.
got packaging for them,
Yeah.
you've got variations and highlights to look at like uncommon figures, and you've got them all in robot mode, and then you've got variations in robot mode that you saw like in different colors and things, and it's so detailed and so. I mean, it's just incredible. I love this book
I'm
so
throwing
much.
StreamYards up full stream so I can see that book. I have horrible eyes. I'm terribly nearsighted.
And they do like here's all these foreign versions. So these are the mini
Yes.
bots where you could get like I have not found a car version like this like a version like this
Uh
or
huh.
a straight up Diaclone. I have not I
Wow.
want to find different packaging. That's kind of one of my goals. And then in some countries they just came in a box like a Matchbox car. You know
Wow.
what I mean? So
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
it was folded up in car mode and put into a box like a Matchbox car, and then you would slide it out and transform it and stuff.
I wonder how many people got that and thought they were getting a Matchbox car and not a Transformer.
And then these are like Italian and other places in Europe and stuff. And then they also had them in these weird different colors.
Uh-huh.
So you're like, oh my gosh, I could have got them. And this is one that I managed to find. This is what we found. We talked
Oh,
about earlier. I found the
check
yellow
that
version
out.
that's in the book. Where am I
Wow.
going here? I'm going back up. So you see it there, the yellow version in the book there,
Yeah.
and I found him,
Okay.
and I was so shocked. I'm at a show and I was like, "Holy crap!" the guy behind the table is like, "What happened?" Like,
Like like the name of the Robocar. It's a
yeah,
Robocar transformer.
Robocar Camaro. He is.
Wow.
See
Yeah,
Transformer and
when
Robot
you're
Chief
hunting
Turbo.
from toys, I think that the hunt and it's just it's all part of the game. And when you finally find something like that, that euphoria that you feel, I have found it.
Yeah, yeah. But
That's
it's interesting that it's red, the normal color on the background,
yeah.
on the back of the card. But he's molded in yellow in the real life one. But yeah, but that's why I love this book because it shows you these things from all over the world.
How
And
much was that book? Is it still available on like
and I mean,
Amazon?
look at this. Look at this spread. It's like every possible conversion
Yeah.
from all over the world, and there's text under every picture telling you exactly what they are,
What
where
you're
to,
looking at? Yeah.
how to find them, when they came out, and it just keeps going. Like this is just on minibots, all these pages. Now it's the same thing for Optimus Prime and for Megatron. You know
So
what I mean?
it
So
continues on. Oh, John,
it's like
John,
it's
John,
like the
what's the page
ultimate.
count on that book? How much was it, and where did you find it?
So it was 29.99,
That's not
29.99,
bad. That's not bad at
and
all.
I don't know. So there's the barcode if anyone wants to look
All
it
right,
up.
guys. Freeze frame it later on the restream so
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
see that
and
barcode.
but
There you go.
I feel like I found this on Amazon one day.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like that was
What's the
it.
copyright date on that?
Oh, let me see here. I can't see without a light on here.
Yeah, we're getting old, aren't we?
2017. So
Okay.
it's,
All right.
yeah,
So
it's not
it's not
that old, but
no.
it could be one of those things that's sold out and now it's hundreds of
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I am always scouring. I look for all these books and reference material like constantly. Every couple months I'm looking through Amazon or book websites and things. And
Well,
the other thing is, like, go to discount bookstores, like
yeah.
half price books online. Half price books, they generally don't sell anything for more than half price. And believe it or not, I got my Kellerman Star Wars book
Uh-huh.
through half price books for like
Okay.
$10.
Well, that's not bad at all
And
for
it's
that
a
book.
$700 book. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. There's another site out there that we used when I worked at a library called a Libris.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, the a lot of those niche books that like I get are in small print runs. So once they're
Oh,
sold
they are.
out,
Yeah.
hell of a time finding them.
And in 2016, my good buddy Mark Bellamo came out with his Transformers book.
Okay.
But this deals with only American release
Okay.
stuff. And Mark does a great job laying out his stuff too. Like, this is
Okay.
Predaking, and when he's transformed and stuff.
Well, I like that he's got like the it's almost like the little file cards, but you don't have
Yeah.
the blue thing on it.
So he does a great job laying it out and showing and giving you a blurb about everything. But like I said, he only does the American release and the stuff that you had as a kid. But it
That's
does
a
go
nice book, but
through.
I kind of like that other one better, the first one that you showed.
It does go through all the way to like the Pretenders and things like that. So I mean, Mark's book might have more Transformers in it because it goes on for years and years.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
it takes care of some of the later
Yeah,
versions of them
yeah.
when it kind of got, in my opinion, it when
It went off the rails. Yeah.
yeah, I know a lot of you guys probably love the Dinobots, but when I was about 15 or 16 years old, I kind of went, oh no, they're going to ruin it with Dinobots now. So
No, I loved the
Oh,
Dinobots.
I know. When you're younger than 15, see, 15 is when you're about to get out of toy collecting, because
Yeah, that is right about
your
when it
mind
is.
moves on to other things than toys at that age, if you know what I mean. Ooh, you chugged that Monster Energy drink.
Well, it was the last bit of it, you know.
This is my Monster Energy drink.
Well, I think I just stole one of the ones that was in my dad's cupboard, and it's a Diet Pepsi thing. So
Uh-huh.
because I don't have any. I have some water, but I wanted something different this morning.
Water's probably better off for us.
Yes, yeah.
I was at Walmart yesterday, and Pepsi Cola is selling a cream soda now. I don't recommend that. It was nasty. I mean, I like root beer cream soda like A&W, but that Pepsi cream soda just didn't cut the mustard.
No.
All right, what we got? We got some tanks in the front. We got a plane. Ooh, a hovercraft.
Yeah. So initially, like, if we can do this, initially they came out with Bumblebee.
Yeah.
They came out with Cliff Jumper. They came out with um, Wind Charger.
Okay.
So these were the initial ones. They came out with Huffer, and we had Gears, and we had Brawn. So those were the original 6.
All
And
right.
then what they did is they made them in different colors. So they did
Okay.
Bumblebee. They did Bumblebee in red. They did Cliff Jumper in yellow. They did
Oh.
Wind Charger in white. And then they did Gears in the red and white. And they did uh, Brawn in brown, a tan color, and gave them different names. So I don't. Oh, and the Huffer had a blue one named Pipes, but I don't own them. I gotta track down a Pipes for
Yeah, we could sell
blue.
these toys again with these repaints and call them something different.
Yeah, and so Braun's brown tan counterpart became Outback. Gears' counterpart became Swerve, and then Windcharger's counterpoint became I don't remember. And then I'm not sure if the Cliff Jumper and Bumblebee counters actually had names. I don't. Let's look in the book.
I'm
Let's see if
sure
they
they
did.
did.
Yeah, they had to have, but I just don't.
You got two of the little blue guys. It looks like
Yeah, because I have one of them. I think one of them's original, and one of them is
the remake.
the remake. Let me
Yeah.
see here. They got a mark on their. Yeah, here it is. So this is the remake. It's got a white. That's the other way to tell a
Focus. There we go.
remake.
Now I see it.
The other way to tell a remake is they stamped it on the inside of the leg. 2018 Hasbro.
Now they
So
did they remake the molds, or did they reuse the molds?
I think they just reused them because they're
Relatively.
they
Uh,
they they look pretty darn close. They're
well,
like I said, there were subtle differences with the Bumblebee that you could see.
like
Like
with the
the
Star Wars
headlights
stuff,
and
they had
stuff.
to remake those molds all together. So what you're seeing is actually a whole brand new mold altogether on those vintage remake figures. And then
I didn't know that.
when they did the He-Man, they actually took molds of a figure and used those molds to make the remakes, and that's why they kind of look a little off.
It looks like it looks like the Cliff Jumper and the Bumblebee were just named Bumblebee and Cliff Jumper, even though they were red.
Really?
Even the packaging just shows them as Bumblebee still, even though it's a red
Okay, so
version.
so we know what happened now. No, so here's my theory, a hypothesis. So they re-released them with different colors, thinking they could resell them. And when that didn't happen, they said, "Okay, we got to rename them, guys. We got to rename them and recolor them." And then this
That,
happened.
yeah, I bet you're right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. What was the? I don't see the white one's name. I know it's some. Yeah, I know he had a name. I know the white one had a name, but I don't. Boy, I'm having a hard time finding him and seeing what it was. Bumper, wind charger. Oh, because they were in a later series, right? They were like. Yeah, that's absolutely what happened because they were in a later series down the road even. So they basically accidentally did it when they did series 1 and then they did it on purpose when they did series 2 and yeah.
Okay, so that's what happened. They accidentally did it,
Yeah.
and and what happened was the kids were like, "Okay, this is a different color. Got to get it, mom. Got to get it, mom." And then they said, "Okay, let's do this for all of them, but let's call them different names."
Yeah, tailgate. That was the white one. So the white
Okay.
one is tailgate. Someone in the chat's probably saying it over and over, and I was missing it.
Oh well, yeah. I always
you know?
miss the chat too.
Yeah, yeah,
I can't focus on the show and the chat at the same time half the time.
yeah.
Oh,
Looks
watch
like the
out! Watch
guys.
out! I see all the figures wobbling up there on the little stands. Be careful,
Yeah,
John.
yeah. Looks like Sonny's here. Hey, Sonny, how you doing? How's Australia?
Oh,
And the guys from Sergeant
Hazel.
Slaughterhouse are here. Mr. Rez is here. How you doing, Mr. Rez? Good to see you. Good to see you. There is a link up above if anyone wants to join. Like Bill has joined us, and we're talking Transformers and and GoBots and some converters later on here. So yeah, so basically, like we'll go through each one. So then they did the repaints, and then they had then they came out with ones like they had Beachcomber and Cosmos, and they
Cosmos
made
is a UFO. Okay.
yeah, and they made Sea Spray, and they had Power Glide, and then they had Warpath, the tank. And Warpath is another one that I have the original. Yeah, this is the original 1984, so it's stamped on the bottom. And then the new one will be stamped like this, 2018 Hasbro. So it's all in white, so it's really clear if you've got the original or the redo. But it also like I don't know if you can see it when you're looking at it on the camera, but
Mine's a little darker.
yeah, when I pick this up as a fan of Transformers, someone who's had Transformers in his hand his whole life, like this feels a certain
Uh-huh.
weight and quality almost, like you might say.
It's a different plastic that they're
And
molding with.
this feels like what's wrong with this? You know what I mean? You get that
One's
feeling in
off,
your head like this looks right, but
but it's
something is off.
off.
Like what's
Is
what
it is it the plastic? Maybe is it
well,
the heft?
I think so because look like doesn't this look like it has more detail and more
Yeah,
like what do you call it?
that one over there, that one over there
Like
looks a little softer. Like maybe
like
they did a
depth.
mold of the
Yeah,
original one and
and
used
this
that
looks
mold to make the new ones.
and believe me, like when you tap this tread on the original, it feels like solid plastic. When you tap this, it feels like almost like a generic 3D print or something.
Oh
It
wow.
feels so different that I almost wonder sometimes like if you found this in the wild and you didn't know, you'd probably in your head go, there's something off with this. And even
Uh-huh.
if you bought it and took it home, you know, you'd ask your friends, "What's wrong with this? Isn't there something wrong with this? It's not original, is it?" Or you know, and you'd eventually track it down. I mean, clearly you're going to flip it over and see the 2018
Yeah,
eventually,
yeah,
but
and that's a good thing, you know,
yeah, that they did it so prominent. You know, they
yeah.
didn't hide it on this figure, but I mean, like, you know, I don't know. I think you get what I'm talking about, though.
I
But
get
they
it.
do
Get it.
They do transform the same. I mean, this guy was amazing in his transformation. We always loved this. You just kind of do that, and he's transformed. Like
Wow.
there's his
Yeah.
arms, and then
His head
his head
becomes,
just comes up off the
yeah, there
top,
we go.
and you're like, and they had this little rub symbol, so you could be like, he's an Autobot. But I always loved this tank guy. I thought Warpath was so cool. I played with him like all the
Gap
time.
After Dark has joined us. Hey, Gap.
Hey Gap, how you doing? Yeah, I played with this guy like all the time. I loved Warpath. I thought he was the coolest guy. This could be the Warpath I've had since I was a kid. I'm not 100%. I lost so many on a move.
Yeah.
That I don't, and then I bought them once they were gone. I started buying them again, and the minibots are probably the easiest ones to buy again, because even today you can get most of these minibots. If you really hunt, you can get them for less than $20. They're not that bad to track down, and they don't really have any accessories. Later versions of Hound and Outback came with this gun that you see here, but I think he's the only one who had the accessory,
Yeah.
and I don't even know where it goes when he's in robot mode, because it's not like it's not like this is Outback in robot mode. It's like, where the hell he can't actually use it. You know what I mean? Like he can't actually put it in his hand. Look at his hands. They're useless. It's like, so I don't really know what you did with it when he was in robot mode. Can you put it on his tires? No. So you just gotta I guess you gotta keep it back
in his back, and maybe
yeah.
he shoots in the sky with it.
So I don't know. But and again, like those are the original Brawn and Outback, and I don't transform them because they're so difficult to transform. And these two are the no, this is an original also. Yeah. And then this is a remake, the redo they did in 2018. So
Yeah, I remember seeing those figures when they came
yeah, they
out
put it on the
released.
back. Yeah, they put it on the back. Yeah, it was cool to find some of those, Yeah.
They were, to me, they were still hard to find even at Walmart.
And yeah, and then they had some offshoots, which is like Hubcap here, which was kind of a
Sunny Fresh Ash John. Is that a Transformers Warpath?
yeah, those are Warpath over there, yeah. Warpath and tank and robot mode. Hello Gap, how you doing? Hello, how you doing? The time change let me catch the stream. Yeah, there you go.
I actually went to bed during the time warp. I went to bed at 2:00, and then the next thing you know, it's 1:00 as I was going to sleep.
Wow. But let's take a look at Gears. So Gears here was a real simple one to transform. And again, with these old ones, you kind of want to be very careful because you can see
getting brittle.
He doesn't really want to go.
Be careful.
So you have to. There you go.
There you go.
You have to kind of, and the thing is the leg actually moves over. It doesn't just flip out. It actually moves over on this like peg that's inside there. So you kind of want to manually move it over and get it in the right slot. So you're not forcing it and you accidentally break these things because they're, like I said, they're getting so delicate that they look simple and they look like, oh, I can just rip them around, but it's I tell you, they're starting to get where they're like, you got to be very careful with these things, And then his counterpart here was Swerve, and you can see it there where like there's like an edge, so you got to move it over, and then it clips into the rest of the way. And there is kind of like a plastic. It's supposed to guide you that angle, but I physically move it myself just because they're so delicate. But these guys just had their face stamped in it. But what was interesting is with Gears, even though he's a remake of Gears, they did mold a different face in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they did take their time to actually change them a little bit so that you wouldn't be like, oh, I just got the same guy, like in some cases, I think. Let's see, um, Wind Charger and Tailgate and see how they are. So these Wind Charger guys all transform the same way. And now to me, he looks the same. Oh no, the yellow one had a different face. Look at that.
Ah.
Yeah. So they did it with these too. The yellow one has a different face even.
Is there something missing off that red one there in the front that clips into that little hole?
No, I think you're just stuck with the little hole. I think there was a sticker over it.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, yeah. So technically, yes, you're right. I'm missing that sticker. So yeah, he does have a different face on this one too. The white one has a different
Well,
face also.
I like the comment Lax Sivrak made. I think he was quoting an Indian who said only the government could think that if you cut a foot off the top of the blanket and sew it onto the bottom of the blanket, that you would get a longer blanket. They're talking about the time change.
uh, they keep telling us here in Florida this is the last time we're doing daylight savings. So they said
Well,
it
I think
again.
they voted it out in Tennessee, but Mississippi's backwards, so they haven't voted it out down here. So I'm confused if Tennessee is going to be one of those states where you have to realize that now you're moving into a different time zone every time you go up there during daylight savings time.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think is going to be confusing when Florida switches. Is that half the year now Huffer is another strange one because the way this hood moves, it's kind of like you gotta
Uh-huh.
tuck it in there, and then his head is underneath it there,
Well, I think a little hidden head there.
and his hands go like backwards. Like why do
Well,
they bend the other way?
I have a weird question, John. Did they make little tiny figures of any of the Witwikis to go with any of these?
Technically, yes. That's kind of what. So in the Diaclone versions of these toys, they actually had little people that would go, you know, like if you look at Optimus Prime's trailer, there's actually little seats and
Uh-huh.
little like computer terminals and things for where now they had little guys that could sit in those seats and go in those computer terminals and stuff.
Oh,
And you got like one or two little guys with every transformer. And in some of the cars, they could sit in the seats of the car, like
nice.
if like in Hound and stuff like that. So it we didn't get a lot of those things, because they thought that American audiences wouldn't understand what was going on or something. We're
Oh, okay,
stupid.
okay. Help me out here, chat. I seem to recollect in my mind that there was a parody or a comedy cartoon where the character gets in the Transformer car and then the Transformer transforms while he's in it and it crushes him.
There is, yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, yeah. He's like, and gets squished inside.
Yes, correct, Lack. I am a Mississippi boy, born and raised. I'm living in the flatlands of the alluvial Delta Plain, which is right south of Memphis, Tennessee.
That sounded so foreign to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Delta
Well,
plane thingy, alluvian, whatever.
the alluvial Delta Plain is the Mississippi River used to hundreds of years ago flood every year, and it flooded all the way over to the hills, which made the land very, very fertile out here. So that's why we have
Oh,
lots of cotton being grown in this area, but it's also flat. So you can see all the way to the horizon without a single hill in sight where I live.
wow.
And it's kind of in a triangle form. It goes, I think the term is it goes from the lobby of the Peabody Hotel all the way down to Catfish Row in Belzona, Mississippi. And it goes from the river all the way over to Interstate 55. So that's kind of how you know where the delta is in Mississippi.
Oh, okay. The Delta. Nice. One other state also doesn't recognize it. I think there's a couple now, isn't there? Or there's a
Well,
few that are gonna.
several of them have voted it out in their state legislatures. I don't know if when it actually goes into effect.
Yeah, that's kind of the question, is because it seems like Florida voted it out, like Dollar Tree Transformers. I have some here. Wait till you see them, Lack. I have some.
Are the Dollar Tree Transformers kind of like the little He-Man figures that showed up at Dollar Tree as well? The little small ones.
Oh yeah, I think they did do those recently. Yeah, but I was talking like the converters that were,
Okay.
like these things that were
Oh, I got you. I got
that
you.
were,
Okay.
in the '80s. These were at dollar stores. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah. That's what your grandma bought you instead of
Yeah,
a Transformer.
these are 1984. Yeah, 1984 from Mark, Japan. They were from Mark Company,
Wow, Lack
Japan.
was born in Flowood. How about that?
But they had Zun Gun, broom, broom.
Written in English.
Yeah, yeah. I like too how they called it the American minibot. You know, yeah. It's a Baron, the LeBaron, whatever. I think it is a LeBaron car, but they called it the Baron.
Okay, Flowood's down there right outside of Jackson, down in South Mississippi. Okay. The people
Oh
down
yeah,
at Jackson think that the people up here in the Delta are not Mississippi residents. They don't claim us.
they don't claim you. So yeah, and then we have Cosmos here. Cosmos was, like Bill said, a UFO.
It looks like the one in that famous picture too, except he's green.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he would come down and abduct people and take them up and probe them. And
Uh-huh.
Cosmos was a very strange transformer because he just kind of popped his legs out, and then these were his hands,
Okay.
and you're like, oh, really? That's all I have to do? And then his head comes out here, and
Okay.
you're like, that is the worst head of a transformer ever. You're like, as a kid, you're like, this wasn't fun. What's going on? You
Now,
know?
was he a Decepticon?
No, no, no. All the minibots were good guys. The Decepticons
Wow.
had,
Okay. Yeah. Well, I seem to remember that the Decepticons all flew, but the Autobots did not.
yeah, in the beginning, that was true. These were some of the first flying Autobots, and then as well as the aerial bots that they made. And
Except
then
for Megatron, who transformed into a Walther.
Walter P-38, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then later a tank because the kids couldn't have guns.
Cosmos looks like a Happy Meal transformer.
Yeah, G-force. Yep, Happy Meal transformer. Hill people and Delta people.
Yeah, that's a thing here in Mississippi as well. The hill folks don't look down on the Delta folks.
So we have Power Glide here, and Power Glide was really cool. Um, I don't know why
Oh,
we.
damn, that sounded kind of dirty, John, says Gap. I think he meant for it to sound that way. That's
Oh
what
yeah, 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 yeah.
aliens do, right? They
Yeah,
come down and abduct people and take them up and experiment on them and then
they
probe
probe
them
they probe people. Yeah.
up the rear end.
And you twist this around to get his head over there. So his tail just becomes his feet, and you're like, "That's it? That's all? That's like that." It's just one of those things where you're like, "Oh, come on, couldn't you have done a little bit better?" Because the other thing is, this guy had articulated arms. You know what I mean? Because of the way he transforms, he had actually more than just like a 5 POA. He actually had arm joints, so he could be like, "Yahoo! All right, guys, let's go!"
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Autobots.
I like that.
Yeah. So
Lack asked me if there's mayhaws down here. No, the mayhaws are not a thing here, but muscadimes are.
musket dives. What?
Muscadimes are like grapes.
Oh, okay,
And you
okay.
can make like jelly out of them, or you can just eat them, or you know,
What's a mayhaw tree?
mayhaws are like little fruit things.
Oh, okay.
They look like to me they kind of look like little tiny maybe cranberry crab apples or some
Oh, yeah,
cranberries.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
You make jelly out of them, stuff like that.
So then we have Beachcomber. Beachcomber was a beach buggy, and he was cool. We always liked the way he transformed. I think my brother got Beachcomber when we were kids, and he loved this guy because, I mean, he does kind of look like, I mean, a proper robot when you transform him. You
Yeah,
know,
I
it's like,
like the ones that do that.
yeah, and it was just a really cool little buggy with the wheels and everything, and it was he has nice rubber wheels, and
Yeah,
so
that's always a plus because the plastic wheels don't grip the surface of the table when you're rolling them around.
very cool character. And then we had Sea Spray.
I like that.
Sea Spray was funny on the cartoon because he had a voice that gurgled. He was, I think it was Alan, uh, the guy who did Skeletor and all those, Alan
Alan Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, we gotta get to the land.
Did he sound like Merman?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
where he's like, let's get going, guys. Like,
You got to get a whole bunch of spit in your mouth
yeah, and
and kind
just
of gargle it in the back while you're trying to
yeah, while
talk.
you're trying to talk. Yeah, yeah. And again, you really got to be careful with this guy because you could, if you force it, you could snap him. You got to get the bottom part flat, and if you don't do it right, you could snap it.
Oh, ooh.
But
Yeah.
he also looked, he looked pretty good as a robot. I thought, he's got these cool arms and his
I
head's all
like
there.
that Vincent looking head there on him with
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Boom,
visor.
boom, 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 boom. Let's put him over here, I guess. And then we're gonna transform some of these guys. Let's do the So here's the original Bumblebee. Now this is what I mean by these. These are you got to pull them out, and you want to pop the leg joint down as much as it can.
Uh,
And then there's a little tiny groove that you've got to stick this front end in when you twist it, when you turn it. And the other thing you don't want is you don't want the black part separating from the yellow part
ooh.
while you're trying to twist it, because that'll cause it to fracture. So you just got to kind of,
Is that the one that you showed me earlier that did have a little fracture in the hood?
yeah, yeah. It's very I usually keep them on display in my collection in robot mode so that and then I don't really touch them. But that's
Yeah.
it. That's robot mode for him, for Bumblebee. And the arms are so floppy on mine that they just kind of fall down. Yeah, they haven't stayed actually, but most of the time they fall down. And the heads oftentimes fall down because they don't really snap up. So they're always at an angle like that, and sometimes they just fall down. And so they were. That's what I mean. They weren't like these Bumblebee type ones were not designed well. Like you look at that and you're just like, compared to Beachcomber and some of these other ones, you're just like, why did they make the main guy like the junkiest? They're the most, I guess, the most fragile and weird. It's just, yeah, I don't.
Well, I guess you can blame that on either Marvel Comics or the cartoons, right? Because the toy company didn't come up with the storyline
That's
for
true.
it.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, it was when Takara had them, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't actually.
So there wasn't a Japanese show associated with these. Well,
No, not in the
and the
beginning.
Transformers were all different toy
They
lines,
were. Yeah.
and they were kind of merged together here in the
Yep.
United States when they were co-opted.
Yeah.
kind of like Shogun Warriors. The Shogun Warriors were all different cartoon shows, not related to one another.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, exactly. Then, yeah. Da, 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 da. I usually just have all these guys standing up in my display. So when I put them back on display, I'm going to put them back this way. So that's why I'm kind of transforming them all. And then we have Hubcap here. Hubcap was the weird one. So there's Hubcap, and then there's some people call him Bumble Jumper, and other people call him Bumper, just Bumper. So it's and that is the super rare one. And I do have him, but he's currently in the safe at the bank, so I can't really get him out right now.
Got him in a safe deposit box. He must
Yeah,
be.
I actually have I have a safe deposit box that's the size of a small comic book box, the cardboard. So it's actually like a tall box, and it's deep. And I have a comic book box in that thing, and it has all my comics that are worth, like, say, $1,000 or more.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in that box.
Smart.
And then I've got a few toys in that box because they're like the bumper figure. At one time, he was like $1,500. So I put him in that a while. I put him in there when I moved down here, shortly after I moved down here, just to keep him safe and somewhere where I know where he is, so I don't lose him.
Sounds to me like I need to do that with my Cyborg Superpowers figure.
Is he worth a lot? Yeah.
He's worth about $900 to $1,000 if you get him.
Oh my gosh!
All of his little accessories and everything. He's very rare. Now, guys in chat, every time he transforms those robots, in my mind is playing Battle Without Honor or Humanity.
What is this?
What Transformers made into a Walther P-38? That would be Megatron.
Oh yeah, Megatron. Yeah. Till all are one. Hey Chris, how you doing? Good morning, Chris at 1000th Ghost. Maybe the best jelly. Oh, I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna have to find some of this jam or jelly and try it out. Much respect, my friend. Okay, yeah, there he is. Because now I must buy it. He is expensive though. There is also a smaller version in the GoBots that looks like a gun. Let me see this.
They should have made him turn into an artillery Luger instead. Well, I think that later on they did have him transform into some kind of an artillery vehicle.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he turned into a tank, and then sometimes he's like a armored missile carrier or something, but yeah, he always has something with a big gun on it so he can have the arm cannon.
Yeah. Now the Marvel comics even showed them when the Transformers that transformed into like a gun or something like that, they would actually shrink in size when they did that as well. I don't know what the explanation for that was. Do you remember, John?
Oh, the shrinking. Yeah, it was they do give it a name. There's some kind of size manipulation thing. They give it a name at some point, but I don't really remember what name it was. But they do give it a name in the series. There's some kind of size manipulator that they have within them, within certain Transformers, like Megatron and Soundwave and Shockwave. Well, no, Shockwave didn't have it. He stayed as a giant gun when he transformed that would float around. But yeah, the other ones, but like Astro Train had it because when he turned into space shuttle mode, full size robot Transformers could get inside of Astro Train.
Oh, wow!
But then when Astro Train turned into a robot, he was the same size robot as Megatron. So you're like, wait a minute, if he's the same size as Megatron, how could all the other, like every Decepticon could get inside of him when he's the space shuttle? So it's like, it doesn't make sense. I was trying to look for, okay, so here he is just as the gun, and they want $300. Like Megatron is super expensive, but it even has the Walter P-38 stamped on it, and it's a very interesting toy. And
That,
as
yeah,
and
the
as you can see that as you can see, this is why the toy was stopped after a while, because as soon as in the 80s they had the first the plane jacking, or hijacking, whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
They were like, well, we can't have kids running around with this toy getting onto an airplane being, you know what I mean? It looks like a freaking real gun on a
Yeah.
glance,
Yeah,
on a,
that's why toy pistols nowadays are in odd colors like pink
yeah.
and day glow yellow, and they have that little thing on the barrel now.
And they did, oh, you don't see that. Okay. I don't like how that doesn't, whatever. Okay. So, yeah. So, um, look at that. Here's the white tailgate reissue with the packaging. Oh, that's the 2017 reissue. That's why it's only $7. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I got you. But this is a reissue Japan one for 150. So you can get some reissue ones at a almost reasonable price, but some of the original ones, look at that, $700.
Whoa. And big in that picture.
In the toy. Well, it takes me to a different page here. Hold on, let me see
Oh,
if I
really?
can.
Okay.
I'll I can share. Let's see. Let me share that window. Here we go. This one? No. This one. Yeah.
Growing up with realistic looking toy guns, what a time to be alive.
And yeah, he had a stock, so a silencer you could put on the front, and a stock that would go on the back of the pistol, and then the sights on the top would turn into his arm cannon,
Yeah.
and all the extra stuff like the stock and things could turn into this giant cannon that he could use
Uh,
on a stand there. Yeah. I mean, I had him as a kid, and he was pretty cool, and I do kind of wish I still had him, but he's one of the ones that disappeared in the move, so I lost him, and yeah, pretty cool figure though.
Lack's giving us all kinds of trivia on weapons there, pistols.
But there was what I was gonna do was there was a let me find him first, and then I'll share it. There was a GoBot. Or was it a converter? Maybe it was a converter.
The El Cheapo toys. Jonathan Redmond says, my local Smith's sells realistic looking cap guns. Was actually surprised not to see funky looking toy guns for a change. I did not know the M1911 had a mag option and a stock option there, Lack. You just told me something I did not know.
Huh, interesting. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna find this thing. I don't know. I don't
Google,
know what to
Google
search.
failing you, John.
Well, I don't know what to search for because it was a transforming gun
Yeah.
that was not Transformers. It was either GoBots or, and it's relatively cheap. It's easy to, it's not expensive, so you could get that one instead of Megatron. But the problem is is that when you put in transforming gun or pistol, you get all the weapons that belong to every transformer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like all the little weapons that they came with, their accessories, and it's like I can't. You'd have to know the guy's name, I think. I don't know, but
Yeah.
anyways, whatever. We don't need to. I guess it's off
We're
topic.
going down a rabbit hole here,
Yeah,
John.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
We need to move along. Get to them big guys back there in the back.
so essentially that was all the that's all what Transformers, the actual Transformers had to offer. And then they had GoBots, which GoBots was everyone in, at least in my world when I was a kid, thought GoBots were like a cheap knockoff of Transformers. But as an adult looking back at them, I actually think some of them were kind of superior for the same size that you got. Like, they're basically the same size as a minibot. They were the same price, but this guy is actually die-cast metal,
Ooh,
and
ooh,
and
nice.
and look what he does. I mean, like, you move the whole cab, and his head goes inside, and then you got to pop the wheel, the arms down to make the wheels. Yeah. They kind of hold the head, and then what's interesting about it is this back part actually unfolds,
Oh, it
and you
becomes
get
a thriller. Okay.
you get an entire truck and trailer thing. You know what I mean? Like, so you had a lot more to play with. It seems like when you were, you know what I mean? Like that to me is way more interesting than what some of these guys turned into. And I was like, as an adult, I'm going, man, why weren't these should have been more popular amongst my friends when we were kids, but they weren't. Everyone thought they were generic. But there's also this turn here, so that
Like that.
yeah, the
I
cab.
wasn't even aware of the differences there in the knockoffs because when I was a kid, I walked right past them, didn't even pick up the box and check out the heft of it or anything.
Well, and technically, GoBots were not really a knockoff. They were just a different brand. They bought different Japanese toys and brought them to
Yeah,
market in the United States and labeled them under the GoBots label.
but
And
you
it
got to
was
think
was
like
it
a kid.
was GoBots Mattel and Hasbro had Transformers? Is that how it worked? I
Something
don't.
like that. I do
I
remember.
actually don't remember who had
Tonka, maybe
or
Tonka.
Tonka was Tonka GoBots.
I think it was Tonka. Now I might be wrong on that.
GoBots was Tonka. You're right.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Same exact time, 83 to 87.
Mm-hmm.
So they were in response to Hasbro getting Transformers, and yeah, and then they were originally, most of them came from the Machine Robo line in Japan, Machine Robo from Japan, and they turned them into what in the States they made them GoBots. So yeah, it's kind of they're interesting to me, and then like they have like a Lamborghini here in his. I mean, they got cool looking faces. I think you have to do.
I had that little red car that you got in your hand right there when I was a kid. I had that car.
Yeah, there we go. You have to spin it around to
Yeah.
make the. I think the sticker even says Kuntosh on it. Like if you're then you flip these around, and you got to make sure the spoiler's in the right position. But yeah, and then you had this cool Lamborghini.
Yeah, I had that one. That was one of the GoBots I had. I
And I
had
mean,
that one in Psykill.
he looks great. Yeah, I wish Psykill and Leader One, like to find one in good shape. Every time I see them, they're way expensive because those are the main. And even Coptor, like when I was a kid, I had Coptor, and they're pretty expensive. This one's cool. He has just an interesting way to transform. His his feet, for the front of the car, the way they form the feet. They were really getting like creative and experimenting on how to do this stuff, and then he turns into a Corvette. So he's a cool
Nice.
Corvette. This one's mostly plastics though, so this must have been later in the line when they went to more plastic. And then we've got this cool like race car. What are the like the one of the GT kind of racing type car things? I think this is a Porsche or something.
Okay.
His name is Crasher. So they put his name all over the car, Crasher.
Nice.
Crasher on the side and Crasher. But it's just, and again, this one's mostly plastic. It's got some metal on the bottom. But it's like half metal, half plastic. So maybe it's the in
Looks like a
between.
Formula One car.
Yeah, almost. But it's one of those, it's definitely one of those track race cars, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Porsche type things. And they're, but I mean, they're just, to me, they're just really cool. And I think they, I mean, they kind of look better as a vehicle. You know what I mean? Like, do you
Yeah.
want this as a vehicle or do you want this as a vehicle? I think most kids would be like, I gotta have that car. This is cool. You know, and so I don't know why. Like, was it only because the cartoon was so popular that like we thought these were generic and terrible when as an
It could be. It just seemed like that when the GoBots showed up, we were like, oh, those are just knockoff
yeah,
Transformers.
exactly. But like when you look at them as an adult, you're just kind of like, actually, they're kind of cool. They're pretty neat.
Lack
You know?
Sivrak has a question for you there, John. He says, where does Wheeled Warriors fit in with all of this?
Well, Wheeled Warriors was actually
That
like
was
not.
the Dollar Tree knockoffs, right?
Well, it wasn't actually Transformer. They didn't really transform. They were vehicles with that had like claws and things attached to them, but they weren't. It was more like Mask. I think Wheeled Warriors was. You know, like
And I remember Mask as well. Didn't you do an early morning vintage with Masks the other a little while back there, John?
yeah, I think we did. Yeah. Let me see if they show anything on this list of characters. Mattel. No, they don't. They don't actually show pictures on this one. So let's go to who's got them. Transformer Land. Do they have pictures of them? Yeah, they got pictures of them. There we go. We'll look at these. Does that change when we go to it? Yeah. Okay. So like Wheeled Warriors were not really a transforming robot line. They were there we go. So they were more like vehicles that had a figure. Is that coming through? Can you see that? Oh, it's not. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
There you go. So you had a little brown figure like this guy, and he went in the cockpit, and then all these weapon attack. Hey, I have these accessories.
Oh,
That explains what they are. I was like, yesterday I was sorting accessories, and I was like,
yeah.
what the hell are these? Where did they go? And I'm like, now I'm staring right at them. I randomly pulled up this picture of Wheeled Warriors, and there's two of the accessories. I was like, what the hell are these?
John, that brings up something. My mother, when I was a kid, she used to run around the house with a Tupperware dish, and she would collect all of the accessories that were hung in the carpet and put them in this Tupperware dish. And I have a few of those Tupperware dishes full of this stuff, and I don't know what any of it is.
Yeah, it's so hard sometimes. You're like, what do I, yeah. But they had bases, like here's the battle base
Oh, that's
for Wheeled
neat.
Warriors.
Oh, look, and it's got treads and everything on it. That is
Yeah, yeah.
badass.
There's some cool stuff for Wheeled Warriors. They are without a doubt a pretty cool toy line, but like I said, they're not really they don't really transform into a robot. It's a vehicle like this that has an attachment, like you can hit this big claw. This thing opens up and it's a claw, and you know, and it's got extra wheels you can pop on if you want different heights and stuff and missiles and everything. So, it's just a different line of stuff, but they don't really transform. Yeah.
Geoforce asks, do you consider Mask to be a converter? Mm,
I mean, you almost could, yeah, but I don't know. I think it's got to turn into a robot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah. An autonomous robot.
Sonny's a robot. Do you consider Mask? No, yeah. Switched evil plant guys turned into vehicles. Yeah.
Thousands of Ghosts. I have lots of Jason the Wheeled Warrior stuff. I didn't know they did stuff on that show.
And then there were military ones. Like I like military GoBots a lot. I love military vehicles, and there's a ton of military stuff for GoBots. And this one is a Jeep. Um, but again, it's like this is a really cool looking robot with all this headgear and stuff that to me is much better than one of these Transformers. So it's like I really think if we gave them a shot when we were kids, we would have been like, GoBots are better. Like I don't know. I just feel like in some cases, this looks cooler to me than the actual Transformer.
Well, like you said, the GoBots cartoon seems so like a baby cartoon compared to the Transformers cartoon as well. That may have had something to do with it.
Yeah, that could be. It wasn't as well produced.
Yeah.
So how the hell do I transform this guy? Like he's.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. So. That doesn't make any sense because this is going to be backwards. Yeah, I don't know how you like the back end makes sense, but then you got this front end that somehow has to like turn around and oh, I see. We have to turn his legs around. Watch this. This is like a weird. It's got to have a weird maneuver. It's got to spin. Man, I am completely lost here. I'm pretty sure that it spins around somehow. Because this goes like that, but now you've got the front of the Jeep. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, the stars have to line up with one another.
Yeah, and they're opposite of each other.
Oh,
so you're like, so somehow they have to spin around. See there, that's what I'm thinking. They got to spin around like this somehow.
And
there we
sometimes
go.
yeah, sometimes you have to do it in a certain order.
Yeah, they got to spin around. There we go. We got it. And then
it was at this point that John proved why Transformers were better.
And then this guy must have had a bunch of weapons and stuff because there's holes to put like a gun or something back here. And there's something like it must have popped in to make the windshield or something in the front here. And but I don't have those accessories for him. But because there's also clips on the side for like something to clip in here. But,
White Shadow also said, John, you need an 8-year-old to show you how to transform that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a cool looking Jeep, though, right?
Like that.
It's a neat looking vehicle, and I really think they're just cool looking.
Well, they have a little more heft to them as well than those Transformers.
And then the jet one, this jet one, is it a Phantom? He's a little bit lame because his feet are just like the bottom of the jet, you know. So you literally just kind of like collapse him up, and then he's a jet, you know. So you're like, that was it. That was the whole transform, and you're like, yep, that's it. So is that a phantom, right? What was that called? I think it's a phantom, something like that, right? And then we have this guy's really cool because he forms a seaplane. So much like this guy was a seaplane, um, and this is one of the cooler transformers, but this one is just like he's all metal to begin with, so you got a nice metal chunky guy, but he's got like real feet and arms. I mean, he doesn't have the full articulation like the other guy, but when you transform him, he actually turns into a dude with pontoons, and then the whole wing part goes back, and you gotta fold out these wings.
Oh, nice.
How do the arms go again? I think they somehow fold up inside here, but or maybe they form. Okay, yeah, they form part of the wings, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they go this way. That makes sense. There they go. So that makes the whole wing. Yeah, that makes sense. And then these can go flat, and they actually connect right into the body there
Okay.
to make the pontoons.
Wow. Look at that.
You got this cool,
Little seaplane like.
yeah. And again, I mean, to me, this seaplane is a lot cooler of a seaplane than Sea Spray. And he looks bigger, you know what I mean, when you have him in plane mode, you know. It's just like, he's got a glass canopy, so you're just kind of like, this one's cooler. This one is a cooler airplane than Sea Spray. And you're just like, oh, as an adult, you're just kind of like, wow, why didn't we think those were cool? And I don't know. It's just, yeah. I think that GoBots are great. I love collecting them nowadays, and they're for the most part they're relatively cheap. Like most of these GoBots that I own, I mean, they only cost me around $10 or $15 to grab. I find them in random places, and I'm just like, oh, I like that one. Let me get that one. And it's not usually something I'm hunting for. It's like something that like a lot of times when I'm at an actual toy store, like a vintage toy store that has vintage stuff, like I'll find the one or two items that I really want to buy, and let's say like I pile up $50 or $80 worth of stuff, $100 worth of stuff at the store. Well, I then walk around and I go, what are items that are like $10 or $15 that I can put on the pile, and then try to talk the guy into like selling me the whole pile for $100. Do you know what I mean? So I get those little things for free, in a sense. So that's where I throw in these GoBots. I'll grab like, oh, this guy's only $10 or this guy's $15. Let's put him on the pile, and then I might find another loose figure somewhere, like a loose Star Wars or a loose GI Joe that he has for like $10 or $15, and put it on the pile. So when I ask for a deal, or I go, hey, can you do all this for $80 or whatever, the guy looks at the big items and he's like, oh yeah, I'll do 50 on that big item, 40 on that big item. Okay, and then you got like three or four little guys. I can throw all the, yeah, those didn't cost me that much. They were like $1 or $2 when you know what I mean? Like if he's charging $10 or $15, he probably only paid like $1 or $2 for them. So from his perspective, the owner of the store, he's like, oh, those don't really even count. when he's trying to add up the big items that you got. So then he might just go, yeah, $100 for the whole pile, let's do it. And you got 3 or 4 little guys basically for free, so as throw-ins. So to me, that's kind of like the that's kind of how I try to get a lot of these little things and it makes me feel better about spending $100 in someone's store, and I get the cool big thing, and then I also get a bunch of what I consider throw-ins. They should have combined Wheeled Warriors with Kara Strax like the cartoon. Oh yeah. I'm transforming them into customs. Yeah, you are. Willie's MB Jeep. McDonnell Douglas F4 Phantom. There you go. Yeah, see? You see the Play School Heroes Rescue Bots. Yeah. I don't know if I saw that Amazon exclusive thing though. Yeah, I don't know if I saw that, but I'm aware of the Rescue Bots as in general, but not. Yeah. What have I missed? We went through some GoBots, Paul. GoBots like these. We were commenting that like, why weren't GoBots considered cooler when we were kids? Like we thought they were generic, but if you look at this GoBot seaplane, it had a glass window. It was a metal body, metal legs, metal back end. And when you compare it to the Transformers seaplane, like as an adult, which seaplane looks better? This one, the GoBot, clearly. The GoBot is a better plane, So it's like, why as kids did we think this was the cool stuff and this was generic and like dumb? But clearly it's way better construction and the design and everything, like I don't, yeah. It's just funny, like how when you look at it with adult eyes, you're like, GoBots might have been better.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next thing we have to go through are these things called converters. Now, converters really were the generic. These were the things that really were at dollar stores. Yeah, they really were at dollar stores, and they were absolutely the generic toy, and they had this cheap ass like plain cardboard back, and they're exactly what you would find at a dollar store, and that's kind of what makes me wonder about things that we see currently in a dollar store, like because a lot of these converters, surprisingly, there's some converters that are up $100-$200. There's some like this that are relatively cheap and inexpensive, but then there's other versions, other ones that are slightly larger, or like some that turn into insects or cameras and things like that can be over $100-$200. And it surprises me. I was shocked to find some. So, and they were dollar store stuff. So literally in the 80s, they were like $1. So it makes you wonder, like, what's currently sitting at our dollar store? Like, is Final Faction, that's one of the best. That's one of the best toy lines at a dollar store right now. So like in 40 years, is Final Faction, are there going to be Final Faction figures that are worth $100? You know what I mean? Like it's
Depends
just
on how rare they become, right?
Yeah, it's just a weird thing to think about, that like really like this stupid Final Faction could be worth money someday. But that's what we thought about these converters when we saw them in the 80s. Everybody was like, these are terrible. Why would you get them? And now some of them.
I mean, the thing there may not have very, very, very many of them may not have been sold as a result of that, or there may have been low toy runs of them. So there's just not that many of them available now.
And what a converter is I have a few here. Like I remember having this red one and this blue one as a kid, and that's kind of why I picked them up, because we did get a couple when we were kids. And when I saw these guys, I had an immediate flashback to when I was a kid going, holy crap. And so I picked these up, and it got me doing research on what these were, because when I bought these, I had no idea what they were. I was at some garage sale or yard sale or a community sale or something, and I found them, and they were like $1 or $2 each in the guy's bin or something. And I was like, I remember these. I had these when I was a kid, but I have no idea what they are. And then it got me into doing research and figuring out that they're converters. It was this line here. And so I found online, like on eBay or Mercari, I found a converter on a package just to give me an example of one on card so I could be remembered how they looked. And then I bought a couple more because I one of them is a Trans Am. So I thought that was cool that he's a Firebird Trans Am, because you didn't get that with these other ones, you know. So I and then I bought a Corvette because that I thought that was cool, and it says like 85 Corvette on the side. But these guys they all transform exactly the same. They just flip down the legs and you flip out the arms, and the face is already in the bottom. Like every single one of them is the same thing. Like this is like a Bronco truck, you know. You fold the legs up, pop in the arms, and you've got that Bronco, right? Like, wasn't it a Bronco that did that, you know? And so they're all really generic, but they do, since they're total die cast, they do kind of feel like a Matchbox car or a Hot Wheels when they're in car mode. And this one has the thing that says Trans Am on the side, Firebird Trans Am on the sticker on the side. And it's just, to me, they're really, really cool. Just, they're cool generic toys, but they really are quite generic. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, every single one of them transforms. You know, the LeBaron that's in here, it transforms the same way. The back end flips down, becomes the legs, the arms pop out, the head's in the bottom. So they all pretty much literally transform the same way. And it's kind of crazy how they just made like a bunch of different. This is like a little mini. I don't remember what this is. This a Golf or something? Like, I don't know what this is. A Renault? Is it a Renault? I don't know. It's a dumb little hatchback or something. But nonetheless, I mean, it's not like it's not like a line that I'm gonna get any more of. I just like to have a couple examples in here that are cool and just neat looking. And it gives us one more thing to look at that's related to transforming robots. And I think I just think they're kind of neat, like a part of history in a sense. And then there is one other thing which I had no idea what this was. This was another one that I found somewhere, and I was like, I don't know what it is.
Fire truck.
But it's an 80s. It is an 80s transforming truck, and it's interesting because the hands kind of fold in.
Nice.
And then you tuck them underneath here. Supposedly. Where's that 8-year-old? I need his help.
Yeah.
And then the head just pops inside of there, and then you fold the legs up. And again, he must have, there's holes and stuff for things. So he must have had like attachments that went on to make it more fire engine like. And mine is missing a wheel on this side. But when I started looking these up, they're called GoBots. It was like ZY bots or something. And they were, again, another generic toy line that was out around the same time in the early to mid 80s. And this is the only Zybot that I have, and I kind of keep an eye out for some more to get another example. And I wouldn't mind finding one in a package someday, but they seem to be pretty difficult. They are pretty difficult to find because I think they were the generic of the generic. You know what I mean? They were the crappiest of the crappy, and so. Like, you literally may have got these at McDonald's. I don't know. You know, like, it's like they're I mean, when you feel this in your hand, you're like, this is terrible. This is like horrible plastic. It's really bad. And I don't know any of the history of Zybots other than I was looking online and I found someone posted one that looked like this, and I was like, wait a minute, that's that fire engine I got, and they had it listed as a Zybot. And I was like, a Zybot? That sounds like like what kind of name is that? And yeah, I mean, look at that. He's just got a really bad generic face, and but it's still something that I keep in the collection because I usually just keep him in robot mode because, like I said, his wheel is broken off, and just
Okay.
stand him up as an example of a Zybot. And yeah, if I found a better one, I'd get rid of that one because he's broken and messed up. But for now, he's just hanging around. But yeah, yeah. Connor, hey, how you doing, Connor? Rozaf, good to see you, Rozaf. Who's on the wrong side, Mr. Fuller? Hope it's not me. Watching Alexa Bliss wrestle, the announcers keep setting off my Alexa. That's funny.
Okay. Zybots were a Remco toy,
Oh yeah, Remco. Okay. Yeah.
and apparently they would
It,
transform into a larger robot.
oh, if you collected a bunch of them.
No, they actually sold them in a multi pack, and you would get like 6 robots in the pack, and then you could transform them into a one big giant robot.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Let me see if I can do this. Present. Let's see if you can show this to the folks.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Cool. Oh, is it? Wait a minute. Is that the fire engine on the left?
I believe you're right. I believe you're right. You
But
see all the
he's got the accessories and attachments hooked on him. But maybe that's him.
yeah
Yeah.
iBots Multiforce, and then there
Oh,
was
look at that. There's a big trailer truck and then a jet and yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
and there were variants.
Of course, yeah. With generic, and I mean, like I consider Remco a proper toy company, but I know a lot of people they were the generic version. They made like
Yeah,
He-Man figures that weren't He-Man.
yeah, but they
And
were Warlord figures from their Warlord comic books.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I'm saying like I personally consider them a real toy manufacturer, real toy line, because you got Conan, you got Warlord, and stuff like that. Like we're saying,
Yeah,
so
as a matter of fact,
perfect.
Remco did do the Conan
He
line.
did, yeah, yeah. Good morning, JT. How you doing?
Hey, JT.
Speaking of JT, we gotta chat on a DM. I I I am so sorry, dude, but I have a package that's been sitting here for a couple months and for JT, and the problem was I don't have JT's address. So JT, I gotta hit you up in a DM somewhere, either on Twitter or Instagram, whatever you got. DM me, and we gotta get your address so I can send this out to you. Cause I found it the other day and I was like, it has a big note on it saying, get JT's address. This goes to JT. It's already packed up. It's already ready to go. I just need your address to send it out. So I'm sorry that it's been sitting here it's probably been there for a couple of months. It's probably from Christmas in July, right? It's probably from
Right.
Christmas in July. So yeah, I need your address, JT, so I can get your Christmas in July out to you.
Look at that bad boy.
That totally is that is the fire truck we just looked at. You're right. Holy crap. So
Look at that. That's a badass robot right there. Look at the fire truck there.
yeah, it clips into those weird feet things,
Yeah.
and then it looks like it has leg parts that connect it to the waist.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, that takes longer than Pony Express. Yeah, yeah. Me mailing stuff out I'm the worst at it. Yeah, so that's kind of, yeah, so Zybots were another thing, and to me, it would be interesting just to get an example. Like, I don't know if I want that big pack, but I'm sure there's got to be some that were just like singles,
Separate.
right?
I
Right?
don't know. I mean, let's go back
Yeah.
over to the page there and take a look.
Oh, here we go. I see one that's a single. Zybots. What's this thing? Oh my gosh, that looks terrible. Oh, here's a Zybot motorcycle, a Zybot helicopter plane thing. I don't even know what that is.
Here, I'll stop sharing my screen. Maybe you can share yours.
Whoops.
I like what this guy wrote here. Most 80s long running, mode changing robot toy lines eventually released a combiner. Some came together from robots clearly designed to be combined, others don't. Zybot's Multiforce is firmly in the latter group. Made up from 6 of the 10 Zybot's changeable robots models, Multiforce is half robots in alt mode and half extra bits to hold it together. There are 11 connecting parts and 7 chromed weapons, 5 mounted and 2 handheld. Is it ugly and weird? Arguably, but does it have a well you tried charm? Certainly more solid than Transformers Gen 1 Devastator. And at 9 inches is quite large. It features articulation in the arms, waist, head, and mounted weapons. It's fair to presume that Multiforce was a reactionary addition to the Zybots toy line in the hope of capturing a little more of the robots that change into things market, even if that was at the modest budget end. All right.
So yeah, for our Zybots, we got like here's one that was just the car on the packaging, and they do say Remco at the top. But then there's also there's a black car down here you can see, and and this person has more vintage stuff like Shoguns and Pro Racers and Thundercat, laser sabers, Listen and Fun,
And
GI
yes,
Joe with
they
the
did sell
orange trip.
those separately. They did. A matter of fact, I went over to this guy's page with the whole uh, main index of those different robots, and the Multiforce came out later on. So at
Yeah.
first we had to buy them separately. Then they put them all in one pack so that you know Granddad would buy that for you for Christmas. Here's your Transformers, there, boy.
Oh, and Zybots did the hey, check this out. I didn't know this, but I remember the watches that turned into robots, and
I had one of those.
it looks like
One of those.
it looks like Zybots did that
I didn't
watch.
know it was a Zybot, but I remember having it. It was a little digital watch that you could wear on your wrist, and then you could transform it into a little robot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see,
yeah, I remember
there
the
he is, and
time
that's
changer.
yeah, time changer. But they are by Zybots, yeah. I remember that one day my dad was like, he's like, "Hey, let's go out. We'll get you a we're gonna go shopping. You can get a transformer if you want." And then we went out and he bought me what he had bought me was that robot and the watch. And I was so disappointed. I was like, "Oh, come on, are you kidding me?" I go, "This isn't a real transformer." I was like,
It transforms, don't it, boy?
uh,
Rolando Flores reminding us that Geek Strong's doing his toys and fitness. What time is that?
oh yeah, in just a few minutes. Yeah, we're gonna close it up here because I've been chatting for about 2 hours. That's
Well,
normally
I've distracted you completely. You didn't get to the rest of the robots. You'll have to do a part 2 of this next week.
no. We got through all the ones we had on show here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Zybots was the last guy. This weird thing,
Okay.
but yeah, we got through them. We're good.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, if you guys want to head on over to Toys and Fitness, that'd be really cool.
Hey,
Hope,
Paul.
good to see you. Good to see you. JT, no. Hey, don't. It's totally my fault, JT, because I put it aside because I knew I had to contact you and get the address, and then I forgot about it. It just got lost in the pile. So I found it the other day and was like, oh crap, I never sent it. And to be quite frank, I still have one item for Scuba Pete, because Scuba Pete bought a giant picture, like a painting, and I it was only just now that I found a box big enough to fit it, a perfect box for it, because I didn't want to send it and risk it getting ruined. So, but I've talked to Scuba Pete about it. We were waiting for me to find the right box and get it packed right. So he, like, Scuba at least knew that it was delayed for that reason. But JT, yours is delayed just because I lost it and found it just the other day. So it's totally my fault. Nothing to do with you. It's
let me shout out there Scuba Pete real quick. If you guys haven't seen it, Scuba Pete got a vintage Eternia playset and put it together on his channel here recently, and that is a video worth watching. That is bad to the bone.
And and by the way, he got something else recently that he's keeping a secret, and it's just as, like, all of us are supposedly going to go nuts when we see this.
Grail toys. I love watching people get Grail toys.
And I think they're going to showcase it on Chasing 80s with Chris there, and so yeah, head on over to Toys and Fitness. There's the link, or somewhere. See you at Dandy's. There it is, Toys and Fitness. Oh, and Lego Studs after that. Yeah. So Toys and Fitness is next. After Toys and Fitness is Lego Studs. So there's the links, and looks like you can watch streaming all day if you want to on Sundays. So
yeah, and unfortunately I won't be on at 12 today. I have to go out of town. So
and then normally after Lego Studs is Bill at Weird Fantastic Toys. So you literally can watch live streams all day on Sunday if you want to. It's an interesting day here on Sundays. But not today, like Bill said, not today.
I won't be on today. Sorry. Commitments that I can't get out of today.
But Bill, thank you so much for joining me.
I enjoy coming on your show so much, John. I'll have to get you back on my show sometime soon.
Oh, I would love to. It's so much fun chatting with you. And I always, it's fun because I always learn something new when we do these kind of things. And like today, we did a little bit more research on Zybots and Convertors, and got to compare, like, GoBots to Transformers, and just, like, directly head to head. And it's just kind of interesting to me to do that kind of stuff, because I always learn something and figure out something new and something different when even though they're my own toys. And they're sitting in front of me. It's like sometimes you don't.
A different perspective always brings something that you didn't realize.
Exactly. Yeah. But thanks to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And we'll see you over in the chat on Toys and Fitness, and then later on Lego Studs. Bye, guys.
Right. Together we'll triumph.
Let's do popcorn on the way out.
Looks like we made it just in time.
With not a minute to spare. The movie's just about to start.
We'll just sit here in a row.
Wait a minute. Something's missing.
He's right. We need popcorn, and we need it fast.
You wait here in this row while I go to the concession stand and come back with popcorn. Good thing I brought this $5 bill.
Wait. That $5 bill's not going to buy popcorn for each of us.
She's right. It's going to take all of our $5 bills. That means popcorn and change for each of us.
That means change for each of our $5 bills, and that takes time we haven't got.
And those opening credits are rolling and fast.
This looks like a job for a 20.
A 20. Wait a minute. What about drinks?
Oh, yeah.